Hello, I'm Laura Mead, and I've been a meditation teacher for about 30 years. And one of the things that people often ask me is, what is the most impactful thing I can do to de-stress? And what I'm going to tell you is something you've probably already heard before. Take a deep breath. We've all heard that, right? Take a breath. Why is that so impactful? That's the thing that I'd like to share with you today, and a very simple technique to help you tap into your own natural rest and restore breathing. So there are two basic types of breathing we have: abdominal breathing and thoracic breathing, or chest breathing. When we are relaxed and in a restoration mode and feeling well, we're breathing abdominally. Our lungs are filling completely, and then they're expelling completely. We're using our diaphragm as a bellows to move our lungs. This is the ideal form of breathing for rest, relaxation, stability, just a sense of calm presence. The alternate type of breathing, chest breathing, is used at a very particular moment when we are in fight or flight. When we are chest breathing, when we inhale, our shoulders come up. We're using the little muscles between our ribs called the intercostal muscles. We're using those muscles to move our lungs. Our breathing is shallow and rapid and often quite fast. The idea for this breathing is when we are facing a threat, fight or flight, and there are more variants now, but we'll stick with the old known name, fight or flight. We need to flee or we need to fight. And so we need this rapid breath. We need this adrenaline that produces, that kind of breathing. We need that hyper kind of activity and awareness in order to do what we need to do. If we're running historically from a tiger or a dangerous animal, that's a very useful tool to have. If we are on slippery roads and we need to be very keen while we're driving our car, actually that fight or flight breathing can be very useful to keep us very closely attending what's happening. Where this kind of chest breathing is not useful is if you have a deadline in a week at your work, or you're very stressed about some upcoming bills or something that's going to happen in the future, or something that happened 10 years ago that when you think about it, it stresses you out. Now, this kind of breathing is not helpful. And the problem is long-term with this stress-filled breathing is that what's happening is we're getting poor exchange of air in our lungs. This can really cause fatigue over the long term. There's a short-term zip, but then we can get very fatigued because our lungs aren't operating very well. The muscles in our chest and our shoulders and our neck get very tight when we're using those muscles, which aren't designed for that, to breathe. So the idea here is that we can train ourselves to go back to our abdominal breathing, because unfortunately in the culture we live in now, it's a very stress-filled culture. And so we really need to train ourselves back to relaxation, back to restoration, back to ease in the present moment. So I'm going to ask you for this exercise to put a hand on your abdomen and a hand on your chest, and take a deep breath and see which hand moves the most. If it's your upper hand, you're in that chest or fight or flight breathing. If it's your lower hand, you're in your rest or restore breathing. But what we can do now is to practice learning to breathe from the abdomen. So we'll just take 2 or 3 deep breaths and see if you can find your way to breathing into the abdomen and making that lower hand move when you breathe. This may take a little practice. Could you do it? If you couldn't, that's okay. And I would recommend for this practice, only do 2 or 3 breaths. If we are unfamiliar with deep breathing, we can actually make ourselves a little dizzy by getting too much oxygen too fast into our bodies. So when you're practicing this abdominal breathing, just 2 or 3 breaths, then give it a break, go do something else, and maybe an hour or 2 later, come back. Can I do it again? Breathe into my abdomen. And then slowly what you may begin to realize is you're retraining yourself to rest and restore. Rest and restore. And just continuing to come back to that, you will find more relaxation, greater energy, because you're getting more oxygen into your lungs. There are all kinds of benefits to just taking a deep breath once in a while. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my other videos.